Welcome back, everybody, to the Dusty Bender Podcast. I am one of your hosts, Chance, with you, Taylor, also with you, Aaron. Rapid fire coming at you guys today, recording on a beautiful Sunday morning. Swapped out the normal beers for some coffee, getting the juices flowing. This episode might be uncharacteristically articulate for a change.
No, yeah, we can think. There's no fog. That's
no fog of war. Not as many to Aaron's calm. There's not going to be as many loose, hard takes. That where I'm immediately wrong, yet I won't concede. Like right now, I'm clear-headed enough to understand that points percentage is probably important. But no, after two beers, I don't believe your science. I don't believe it. I am just like the NHL Department of Player Safety. When it comes to CTE, I do not believe in your science.
Yeah. Gary Bettman and you just you get a couple beers in you turn into Gary Bettman, huh?
Just go points percentage. Do they use points percentage to calculate CTE? It's all shit. I don't believe any of that.
Unicorn, Santa Claus, and points percentage, baby.
Might as well, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're back at it after 2 weeks, though, huh? A little hiatus for the boys.
We are. Yep. For those who missed us, we missed you, and we're glad to be back here. Lots of hockey stuff to talk. We did unfortunately miss some stuff in the week, but after those really long trade deadline episodes, we like to usually take a week off and get strapped in for the playoff push, because we're somebody, I think we have a producer that could probably tell me we're 13 games away, 12 games away.
That depends on, because the NHL scheduling is so great that there's a wide disparity in games played. So depending on who you ask, you either have 12 games or 15.
Is 15 Ottawa?
I think they were. Ottawa's got 69 very nice games played.
Nice.
No, it looks like they're tied for those. So we're getting to the point where the disparity in games, except for playoff teams where it's the Washington Capitals that we'll talk about, they've got 2 games in hand with 14 games to play.
Wasn't it Dallas? It was the post-COVID year, right, where they were kind of figuring shit out. It was Dallas was 10 or 12 games behind or something like that. Is that the year I was thinking of? And I think it was Dallas. Either way,
that sounds right.
Yeah,
something like that.
A lot of fucking hockey to catch up, dude.
Absolutely. Quick housekeeping stuff since we've been gone so long. We're going to be bringing you an episode every week again until we'll go into the playoffs and all that fun jazz. We did just get in. If you guys are interested, if you YouTube listeners out there, I guess you could listen while you're on YouTube. YouTube viewers, I suppose. We do have these very nice, nifty coasters that came in. That's probably not the good one. Let me get the good one here. There we go. There's a good one. Hey, there we go. Look at these coasters.
That's what happens when you're drinking water or
that's
coffee.
Right. God, I can't think straight without the alcohol. These coasters are coming. If you guys are wanting one, hit us up on Twitter and Facebook. We'd love to send you one to show the brand and have something to put your cup down on.
Yeah, we'll give a few away, I'm sure, over the course of it for some hotel, or take them with you, some travel ones.
Absolutely.
Or something. I don't know, who knows?
Yeah, whatever can you do. We'd like to thank the Hub Tavern for sponsoring this show. Of all times, the Hub Tavern is the premier hockey bar in Spokane, Washington, part of the Anchor Alliance. That means they are officially affiliated with the Seattle Kraken. Go on in there, say hi to Dave and Mona, have a beer. It's cash only. But you know what? They've got an ATM, so if you didn't come prepared, they got you. They'll take care of you. Go on in there, have a beer, and watch a hockey game. I've watched many of hockey games in that place. Every time it's a good time. Always a good crowd at the Hub Tavern. Also, just a hop, skip, and a jump from the Hub Tavern down in downtown Spokane is Monterey Cafe. The folks over at Monterey, Jeff and the gang, Dirty Jeff and the gang. That's it. That sounds about right. Jeff's not doing so hot with the inevitable fall of the Pittsburgh Penguins. And Jeff, I love you, but God, I think it's going to get a lot worse before it gets better. It's Aaron's like, yeah.
So
it's not.
Real quick on that. My favorite. We'll do this real quickly. What's a bigger evidence of a conspiracy theory? If Chicago wins the draft lottery, or if Pittsburgh wins the draft lottery?
Oh my God! I need to get an audio. I need a sound bite that we can play from Jeff, just going like, "Yeah, it's absolutely rigged, like 100%."
It's absolutely Chicago.
Oh, if Pittsburgh beats out San Jose, Chicago, the Ducks,
Columbus,
we know the Ducks aren't getting it. The Ducks never.
No, Ducks will fall like 6 spots. So I'm not worried about them.
Ducks are guaranteed the top 6 spots, and then it's like, and the Ducks have gotten 8th. How is that possible?
they just somehow swap out wherever the Penguins were actually supposed to go with the Ducks,
and everybody just pretends like there's nothing wrong with it. Just like, yeah, that's where, and Pittsburgh will be moving up 2 spots.
Yeah, and the Ducks get Bobby Ryan again.
Nothing wrong with that at all. Bobby Ryan can come back.
Love you, Bobby.
Bobby could definitely come back and make that team better. But yeah, go on into Monterey Cafe, downtown Spokane. Some of the best grab a slice pizza you can find. Some of the best karaoke out there, and also just a great place to sit and chill. Love the vibes there at Monterey Cafe. It's I'm not gonna say a dive, because nowadays dive can imply that it's like negative, but I fucking love that place. It's such a good bar. Great crowd, great staff. They're always taking care of us when we go in. Could not recommend Monterey Cafe highly enough. Also, folks, the Hockey Podcast Network, we are part of them. They're awesome. Jump on over to thehockeypodcastnetwork.com. Check out the immense amount of content that we've got on there. We're actually now entering the playoffs for the fantasy league that we're in for them, the 20-team fantasy league. We'll probably be giving you guys some updates as we go along. I think we have a bye this week, right?
Yeah, we did. I was trying to keep an eye on it because I was in the playoffs in one of my leagues, and then I got absolutely fucking stomped by our next sponsor this week in our league. So move to the focus on the THPN league. But yeah, good podcast over there. Go check them out. A lot of good stuff.
Well, our other and in that league, we'll get into that later. But I mean, we still got you and me. It's going to end up you and me fighting for the first round pick. So
that's what you
first
think.
Overall pick. You think so?
My team just got absolutely battered by John Miller and Fire Chief John Miller. Yeah, absolutely battered. There's a good chance I'm just going to sell the franchise. Like speculative. Done.
You're rotating?
Yeah, I think that's it. You know, I went from first place last year, just absolutely dusting everybody, to like just absolute garbage. So, yeah, I missed by 1 game. I made a little push though. I'm happy about it.
Cool. But Fire Chief John Miller also sponsors the show. Longtime listener, longtime supporter of the show. District 1 Fire and the Nashville Predators firefight. Miller saying that his Shoshone County Fire District 1 is also now the Backwoods Nashville Predators firefighting affiliate.
Okay.
who are now 15-0-2 in their last games. And congrats to Cody Hodgson on his comeback journey and story.
No way. I missed that. Oh, okay. We'll get into that. That's nice.
Dude, the Preds, if you are listening to this and not a Preds fan, sorry, this is going to be kind of a Preds heavy episode, gang. And it's not because we're sucking up to one of our sponsors. I mean, we kind of are, but listen, they've earned it. 15-0-2 is fucking unreal, right?
Yeah, I mean, if our sponsor wants to send us a couple 30 racks of beer each, yeah, we'll talk about the Preds.
Perfect. Absolutely. So yeah, those are our sponsors. Thanks everybody for supporting us. And we actually do have a giveaway coming up here very soon. So keep an eye out for that on Twitter. And if you guys are interested in any of our merch, we're still selling hats. We're still selling shirts. Pretty much whatever you want. Whatever you want to have the Dusty Bender logo on, we could probably make it happen.
You're asking for it there, dude.
I know.
You're opening up a window there.
If you're willing to pay for it, we'll put the logo on anything. It's fine.
Yeah. That's good. You're gonna get fleshlights. Like there's gonna be some ridiculous stuff.
Yeah, by we he means Chance.
Yeah, Chance will do it.
Chance will put the logo on anything.
Not on his body.
Yeah.
Oh, whoa. Okay.
You paid for it. Chance will tattoo it, baby.
Yep. You heard it here first.
If you guys hand me a certain what's it like for the Vet TV guy? Would he sit there like, how much would it cost to go down on a guy? And he's like, $36,272.82. You're like,
a Tesla.
That's a very specific number. It's how much to pay off my truck.
Yeah, there you go. Hey man.
Yeah, if you send me $7,345, yeah, I'll get a Dusty Bender tattoo, 100%.
Dude, I'll do that to pay off that fucking Volvo that wife of mine owns. You heard it here first.
Gotta man's gotta eat.
Man's gotta eat. That's right.
All right,
let's dive into it, huh?
Let's dig into it. Yeah. So did miss a little bit. We'll try to hit on some stuff maybe a little bit when we go through, but right now, Taylor, tell me if I know that this is not, the year is not 2016.
Mm-hmm.
When I say this, Tom Wilson has been suspended for 6 games.
Holy, never. This first time offender.
Yes. Absolutely. So, and we're going to 2 birds, 1 stone this, acting the Fuelman gets tweet of the week with the key points from the Department of Player Safety here. It is Tom Wilson. Tom Wilson is the player who did this. Gregor was the high stick to the face by Tom Wilson. He also did a weird hug thing after, which Aaron has thoughts on.
Yeah.
Yeah, obviously that's a mock-up, but
Tom Wilson did.
But really though, like this is it. Like a 6-game suspension for that. Like Trouba just did like a much more egregious 2-handed fucking baseball swing on a guy and got nothing. And there was even the Perron, like this is the Perron incident and all that. Again, we look at the Department of Player Safety judging all of these stuff, and there it is. Ooh.
Yeah, nice pull.
Oh my God.
God. I didn't mean it. Oh, he's looking right at
so
holy shit.
So when you're looking at this play, one of 2 things has to be true. Either Tom Wilson did this intentionally.
Yes.
Or
that's
Tom Wilson has no concept of his controlling his stick and did it unintentionally and then did the weird hug thing to be like, no, I didn't mean to, like, my bad. Like
from behind too.
One of those 2 things is true.
Look at his free hand.
Bad. Like
look at his free hand. It goes kind of up, like he was almost doing like
him.
What? Look at that.
He looks right at the ref. He looked right at the ref, dude.
He's like, what?
He's like a half second away from just like clearly like totally collapsing Noah Gregor's larynx. Like it's insane. And like, yes, he's paying a tax because he's Tom Wilson, and he definitely earned that tax. So like,
100%.
What are you gonna do? Like, and
the
like
guy
I said,
just sees red, dude.
Yeah, and like I said to you guys, getting suspended. So he's suspended 6 games. The Capitals have 14 games left in their season. They are in playoff contention.
Mm-hmm.
Taking the worst suspension possible for the dumbest play imaginable is the most Tom Wilson thing of all time. Like,
it's fucking ridiculous.
Well, like they could miss the playoffs because of this bonehead play.
Well, and it's sad that we're talking about this, right? And this is a perfect. I mean, Aaron, kudos to this for like setting up the script this way, because the Caps are somehow in a playoff push.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think even Capitals fans are like, I don't know what's happening. Like, they
might even beginning of the year. Yeah,
they might even be kind of pissed off about this, honestly. Like, a late playoff push to get them in so they have the honor of getting fucking absolutely waxed by the Bruins is not part of the plan right now.
Yeah, well, they got Connor McMichael.
Oh,
who's the other one he said for Draisaitl? Who was the comparison for Draisaitl? Connor McMichael and someone else. Anyways, yeah, I'm with you on that. I just, to both your guys' points, right? Like, this is him this is not him thinking, right? This is him seeing red. He's literally like, I don't even know what. So this is what's bad. I don't even know who the victim of this was.
Noah Gregor.
Noah Gregor. Okay.
Yep.
Like Noah Gregor must like just pushed him briefly, right? Like it's just the sparks go, everything gets misaligned, and he's looking right at him. The only way, if you are a Tom Wilson lover, the only way I could ever like, and I'm not even gonna listen to the conversation, but I'm sure people have gone to it. Like maybe he's trying to one hand slash him in the stomach and got too high with it, right? Like there's really no good way to put what he fucking did. And it's ridiculous. The thing between Trouba and what the Wilson shit is, it's the exact same fucking play, right? It's the exact same thing. Trouba's looking at fucking Frederick, right? The same way that Tom Wilson's looking at Gregor. It's the exact same play. The fact that we have that big of a disparity, we bring it up a lot, but it really is. It's a fucking joke. It's a fucking joke. But I mean, yeah, Trouba should have got 6 games too, right? It's not that Tom Wilson should have been fined $5,000 like Trouba was. Yeah, it's just boneheaded moves, you know.
Yeah, it just gets back to like, Tom Wilson's, for whatever reason, like Tom Wilson's reputation, and he is a repeat offender under the player safety. And Trouba,
he is the repeat offender.
Yes, yeah, exactly. Like he is the reason that like that exists, basically. And Trouba, for whatever reason, they haven't brought the hammer down on him, despite his like multiple bonehead. Like he should also be a repeat offender. But Department of Player Safety because they haven't brought the hammer down on him, they can't do it again. So like
can't go
he
back.
Just keeps getting fines, and
right.
Tom Wilson gets the hammer. Like,
that's crazy.
Ridiculous.
Well, and it's so a perfect segue into this is we're talking, the Caps are somehow in the playoff hunt. They're 1 point behind the Detroit Red Wings. It kind of almost seems like the Lightning, the Wings, the Capitals. If you want, you can throw the Islanders in there, and if you're really being generous, you can say the Devils, but the Devils don't look like they're
they're a little too far down.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like anybody really wants this playoff spot. And it's just
so weird, dude.
It's so weird. Like, it looks like Tampa's finally kind of getting their shit together. I'm not necessarily worried about them anymore. The Red Wings will, law of averages. Like we'll get into the Red Wings in a second. But they seem to be, they'll probably even out. The Capitals are the 6-4. Like this is not part of the plan. Like and when Tom Wilson gets suspended for 6 games and everybody's like, oh, this could really hurt their playoff chances. Like, in what fucking world is Tom Wilson like an instrumental part to your playoff push?
Yeah. I mean, to your point, right, where you're saying, nobody seems to want this. Would you want this? Right? If you are a team who you're just going to get
on your team
in the first round,
yeah,
right? Are you a team that wants it, or do you want maybe a higher draft pick? Do you want maybe the very, very slim chance of getting first overall, right? Like
rapid fire it, right? Like rapid fire it. Like the Lightning, you need to make the playoffs so you don't signal that the sun is setting on the Stamkos Kucherov experience.
Lightning are into me.
Right. The Red Wings, like making the playoffs this year is like getting bounced in the first round actually is a good thing. Like you're showing that there's improvement. We'll get into the Red Wings later, but like getting bounced in the first round actually is weirdly a positive thing for the Red Wings. Capitals, no, like you have nothing to prove here. Like it's over. It's done. Like making the playoffs, all it does is just push your rebuild out further.
But they're not rebuilding. Their whole goal is getting Ovi the goals record. So like they're not trying to be bad. They're not trying to be they're trying to be good enough so that Ovi can score goals.
This is where they want it.
Right. And now they don't care about the cup anymore.
Yeah, and now they are just like, like tripping over themselves. Like they might make the playoffs with a -30 goal differential. Like that's and they were unequivocal sellers at the deadline. Like they got rid of Anthony Mantha. They got rid of Kuznetsov. Like they were anybody who had value. Like they sold
2 years in a row too.
But now you've got guys that are like, Sonny Milano and what is it, Ryan Strome?
Dylan
Strome. Like these guys they're dragging the Capitals into the playoff race, kicking and screaming. Like if I'm the Washington Capitals, like
those guys,
if I'm the GM, like like who fucking would have thought those two guys are gonna be fucking, making a playoff push? Like if I'm the Capitals GM, like I don't want Ovi making the playoffs. That's another, that's less rest that he gets.
Yeah, but then that's 4 games of playoff gates for your ownership, and you get to keep your job. I think is also probably the point for like teams like the Capitals and the Islanders. Like, you get those playoff gates, and you get to go to your ownership group and be like, "Hey, I made a playoff team." And were they any good? Not really, but we got there, and you got extra money.
So the natural comparison though there right now is the Capitals and the Islanders, and in my terms, like again, you put it perfectly. Like the Capitals don't care about they got their cup in the Ovi era. Now it's all about getting Ovi the goal record. Like that's it.
Mm-hmm.
Where making the playoffs is gravy. Like it means nothing. Whereas the Islanders, I'm starting to kind of get the sense that like ownership, it's kind of be like a Vancouver Canucks situation where ownership just like will refuse to be bad. Like even when the writing's on the wall, they're going to make Lou Lamoriello always try to make this team make the playoffs, regardless of if they should or not. And obviously, like we're looking at the Vancouver Canucks, like they've kind of fallen back to earth a little bit now. But we'll see. I don't know. Like if the Islanders make the playoffs, like are we sitting here going like, woo? Like,
I mean, they have some guys. They got guys like Dobson, right? They got guys like Matty Barzal. They got guys like with Sorokin in that net, right?
You're
like,
always
you got some pieces.
You could always roll
right?
the dice.
Which is I like your comparison to Vancouver, maybe Vancouver of the last couple of years, right? You're looking at a world-class goaltender. You're looking at, a good number one defenseman and, obviously not the Pettersson, JT Miller type player in Matthew Barzal, but he's having a nice year, right? So like, and you brought in Patty Waugh, right? Like, I don't think this is,
maybe it's kind of like
I think they're missed, but
maybe it's kind of like the Gibson effect. If for those playing Dusty Bender Bingo at home, you can now check the obligatory Gibson reference here.
Is that a bingo?
Yep, absolutely. It's like the Gibson thing is like it's when you have a good goaltender, sometimes you're kind of like the GM's like, I'm fucked. Like I can't, as long as I have a good goaltender, like Connor Hellebuck, like as long as Connor Hellebuck is playing for the Winnipeg Jets, they gotta make a push, right? Like you can't waste a year of Connor Hellebuck.
Yeah. I think that's probably, and I think we see teams get locked into that a lot more, right? I mean, sure. Washington is a different example, right? I think you could look at, New York.
They're legit starting a rebuild. Like it's plain and simple. Like their only goal is to pass the puck to Ovi and get that record and then start the rebuild. Like they were full on fire sale at the deadline.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, let's jump over to New Jersey before we get too far out of here. I think New Jersey, based on their points, based on the games that are left and their last 10, I think they're it's definitely a step backward. I think they're gonna have some moves to make. Jake fucking Allen playing his goddamn heart out though, trying to get him into the playoffs, but I don't think it'll work.
It's too little, too late for them, I think.
Yeah. Well, when Dougie Hamilton went down, I think that was like your first big red flag of like, ooh, the season might not go the way we thought it was going to.
And Jack Hughes missed time and so it's not like the window's closing on this team, but like, you had a year where everything didn't go your way and you were running out two of the worst goaltenders in the league consistently.
This happened to Tampa before a couple of their cups, dude. So, I mean, you get the right pieces in there. You never know.
And then this is what happens when a very passionate fan base with high expectations starts seeing negative results. Like everybody starts turning. Like I'm on the like Devil's Twitter sphere. Like we follow a couple people. Shout out to Neil. They fucking hate the Winnipeg Jets now because they got Tyler Toffoli talking massive shit about them. And then like it seems like apparently Nico Herscher is like the worst captain in the league.
Oh, dude. That's terrible. The coach clearly Ruff needed to go, right? I mean, they've played some better hockey. They've looked a little better, they clearly need a goalie. I mean, if this year isn't the definition, they definitely needed a goalie. Mm-hmm. But I mean, like the Jesper Bratz. The thing is you can't look at this team and be like, oh fuck, like they're never gonna win. You get rid of a guy like Toffoli, a guy like Holtz is gonna move in. You're gonna get Dawson Mercer more time. Right, like you just that's not a huge loss for them. Whereas, I think they missed though. It's just they're too far away.
Yeah, I agree. So let's back up to Detroit here because Detroit's been one of these like Jekyll and Hyde teams all year. They've been streaky. They'll go on a 6-7 game heater and then they go on a 4 or 5 game losing streak and. They've been very streaky all year, and they, maybe a month ago we were sitting here going like, yeah, the Red Wings have pretty much got a playoff spot. I wouldn't say locked up, but we were
playing better hockey.
Yeah.
They could have played 500 hockey and pretty comfortably just got into the playoffs, but they didn't. They
said, "What if we played 200 hockey?"
Right. And that corresponded directly with not directly, but it definitely did not help that Dylan Larkin went down. And you start seeing immediately with the Detroit Red Wings that their center depth is non-existent. Like when you're throwing old Joe Veleno, he's not old, but Joe Veleno's been around in the Red Wings organization for quite a while now. He's a useful piece, but he's not a first line center. When you're throwing him up there or, giving Compher, again, love Compher. JT Compher's great hockey player. Very solid, reliable guy, but he's a second, third line guy, So when you're having to interchange pieces like that, the Red Wings go on, Aaron, your stats here, 3-7 in their last 10, 40.9% chance of making the playoffs from money puck, 46%, what is that, XG?
Expected goals.
Expected goals, yeah. More of your science. I don't believe in that. I believe in heart and grit and jam and quote, wanting it.
Yeah, and that kind of logic is how you give up an entire year's worth of draft picks for Tanner Jeannot.
Give me. Where's the statistics on wanting it?
They're underwater.
Can you measure that?
They're underwater at 5-on-5. They're underwater in all situations. And more crucially, one of the guys they brought in to help fix their scoring, Alex DeBrincat, he has 4 5-on-5 goals in his last 50 games.
Yuck, dude.
Like
4?
that's not
so
get it done. 4 5-on-5.
So bad, dude.
Like this team needs and like the other thing I would have said is like they need their young guys to take steps. And like Raymond's played better. Sider's like proven he's legit, but like you can't have that when like the big piece you brought in like isn't carrying his weight at 5-on-5. Like,
no, you're 100% right. And at the deadline, like I don't think there was too much pushback on Yzerman at the deadline because he didn't really do anything. All he did, he cleaved some dead weight off the roster. I can't remember who they traded, but it was some guy that wasn't playing. I think he was an acquisition from Edmonton, if I'm not mistaken. In any case, got rid of him, but they didn't buy. They didn't do anything. And in his after action press conference was like, why make a move for a guy? Like, why make a move for somebody that we've got that could easily be filled by somebody who we move up from the minors? So he said that, like, he legitimately said, like, we didn't buy because we've got those pieces that we can move up from Grand Rapids. So Aaron, as you said it, like, okay, everybody's on board with you saying like, okay, we've got, Simon Edvinsson. We've got, what the hell is the Bergeron? Like these guys that are down in Grand Rapids that are apparently, according to the GM, are ready to take the next step up and fill these pieces that the reason why you didn't buy anything. Where are the kids now?
Yeah. I mean, Edvinson's up, but
we'll see if he stays.
No, he looked good. He
does look good.
He's looked good. So
talk to any Red Wings fan, and they're going to say that Simon Edvinsson should already be in this lineup. I mean, it's every day that I look at a roster and see that Jeff Petrie is not on a rocket to the fucking sun is a bad day for Red Wings hockey.
Yeah, I think I don't know their prospect system as well as I probably should, but I mean, there was some center depth at the deadline though, right? So I think to your point, right, I think that's probably an area that they could have upgraded. Obviously the back end, they felt comfortable with some of the young guys they have there, but I mean, JT Compher at this point, I'd rather see him in a third line role, right? I think that's probably where he's better at. And so bringing in
Andrew Kopp's fucking useless. Like I
thought he was going to be a lot better for them, but
agreed.
there's definitely, and then a lot of it really was, you're banking on James Reimer playing some good hockey between the pipes in order to get to even, I think, I think they're 3-4-6, 3-7.
And Lyon was through. So they basically burnt Lyon out through that losing streak. Like he was basically playing all those games. He finally got a rest, came back, and they lost to Nashville last night. We'll get to Nashville here in a little bit. But that was a good 1-0 game. Like that was like you came up a team against that's on an absolute fucking heater. Losing 1-0 to the Nashville Predators at this time in the season is not something to beat yourself up about. So,
yeah.
But how much longer is the patience going to be there for Yzerman? Because, like, I know he's Steve Yzerman and I know it's Detroit, but like at some point, the rubber's got to meet the road, and the patience can't last forever, right? And like, I'm looking at their cap friendly. Comfer signed 5.5 until 27-28. Andrew, like, you have these guys that are like locked up, like, or excuse me, Comfer is signed until 28-29. Andrew Kopp is signed until 27-28, both at like 5 and change. Like, at some point, this team has to make a step. And I like to what we were
saying. And this is
earlier,
a step.
Well, yeah, insofar as they're playing meaningful hockey.
I know it sounds weird. Like, I know it sounds weird, but like making the playoffs, like grabbing a wild card spot and getting bounced in the first round by Boston is a step forward for the Red Wings. Like I've said it all year. The Red Wings are a fake good hockey team. They have just enough like high talent offense to make up for some abysmal defensive numbers, some inconsistent goaltending. Like it's, they're highs and lows, like they're all over the place. And with this team, it's the natural progression of things. Like last year, they were on the doorstep, but just couldn't quite make it. This year, they're on the doorstep, but they might just make it. So the natural progression is like, next year, it's like, okay, it's not will we make the playoffs? We're leaning that direction. Like next year this is a playoff team. We need to be a playoff team. So
yeah, it's kind of that slow burn.
Exactly. And I do think that people sometimes, like Red Wings, people from outside of the Red Wings, like zeitgeist world, don't understand that this is progress. Like, look at it's not an Ottawa Buffalo. Like those were when we first, like we were starting to record at the beginning of the season, who are the natural comparisons that are supposed to be like right neck and neck in rebuilds with them? Buffalo and Ottawa. How's Buffalo and Ottawa doing right now?
Yeah. I agree with that. I think, this is the progress that you want to see, right? Even if you squeak into the playoffs, everybody from the outside looking in can see where the holes are, but you identify those holes and you hope to make the step the next year, right? I mean, you got guys like Lucas Raymond, and DeBrincat's still young, and the back end is really young, but looks really good, right? Edmondson and Sider throwing fucking bombs with Philip Forsberg yesterday. That's just shit that you want to see, right? That's a nice 1-2 for them that they can kind of put some, say more defensive defensemen around those guys and kind of let them flourish. But back end is definitely their hole. I know that they have, they got Casa down there, and there's another prospect too that kind of popped up a little bit this year for them, but. At what cost though, right? Can you assume
Casper.
that
You're thinking of Marco Casper?
He's a center though.
Yeah. Oh, we're not talking about center. My bad.
Yeah, I was talking about goalie, but that's clearly their biggest hole, right? So but can you bank on taking the next step next year with a rookie goaltender, right? Like if that's what the Yzer plan is, that's so difficult to do, right? We saw that with Devin Levi this year, right? I mean, it's just you never know if that's going to be the answer. So.
Yeah, you got to make a decision on Husso. Like, I don't know what you do with Husso.
I think he's gone. I think he's gone. I think you go Lion and you bring up Casa and let him just
keep
feel it out.
Keep Reimer on a low cost.
Maybe. I'm kind of in that boat.
So you trading Husso? He's got another year after this.
I think you run that course. Like, it's not, see if he has been injury plagued this year. Not to defend him, like he hasn't necessarily played well even when he wasn't, but he has been injury plagued this year.
But he's never really done it though. Like, he had his
first year he played well.
He played okay. The team was shitty, but
Agreed.
I think, and at the same time, he himself has only had that 1 year where he was a backup goaltender, dude.
Yep.
I mean, so like, I don't know. I don't love it. I mean, not saying that Alex Lyon, like, you just, it's the same situation.
Oh, if you're a Red Wings fan, you don't sit there and expect Alex Lyon to be the guy. Like, he's having a good year this year. Like, he's come in and saved their ass multiple times. But you can't sit here and expect that, like, okay, Alex Lyon is now our guy. Like, it's very possible that, next year he could become Jack Campbell. So,
yeah, that's why I think if I'm okay with it, and I I don't want them to run into the Calgary Flames thing where they have their goalie of the future in the AHL.
Yeah.
And what you're getting him, I think Wolf has had like maybe 10 games, right?
Yeah.
So I don't think that's a great position to be in. But we'll see. Well, yeah, it'll be interesting to see what they do. That's clearly their hole.
Sure. I'll talk to this team's fragility at the moment because, like I said, during that stretch, that huge losing stretch where you're just like, they fucking lost to the Coyotes twice. Like, holy fuck.
Dude.
Like, that's just.
They got ran out of the building by the Sabres.
Right.
Too. They lost like 7-3 to the Sabres.
One of their wins during that horrible stretch was against they did home and homes with the Sabres, and they did get beat in Buffalo, and then they actually won at home. But in any case, no, they played terrible for it, and most of that Dylan Larkin was gone, and it's just like. So when first game Larkin comes back, they played the Islanders. And they just fucking killed the Islanders. Like, it wasn't like. They're like, oh, you have any hopes? Like, no, we are not in the same boat kind of thing. And they just stomped them. And that was Larkin's first game back. Like, the entire crowd is chanting Dylan Larkin. It just goes to show, like, on one hand, that is very positive. Like, Dylan Larkin is the heart and soul of this team and everybody loves him. And he is truly like one of those, like, can do it all kind of guys. But also it shows how fragile this team is. Like, if Larkin goes down, they're just falling apart. Like, there's no leadership. There is no center depth. Like, I like JT Compher right where he is. Andrew Kopp needs to be fired in the sun. Austin is an AHL replacement guy. Like, as much as I think Austin's a former Kraken, right?
Oh God, I don't fucking know, dude. Like, honestly, like, he's just a nobody, right? Like,
Austin's he's replacement level guy. Like, he comes up when there's an injury, but more often than not, if everybody's at full health, he's not in your lineup.
Yeah, and see, that's more concerning to me. Like, you got to have somebody, and not even necessarily like, and maybe in the locker room, right? Someone's trying to be that guy, right? Like, maybe David Perron in the locker room is a vocal guy and is trying to get the troops rallied. But my God, man, like, you can't just say Dylan Larkin's out, we suck now. Right.
Like, that's
not a recipe for success.
You have fucking you have the supposed, cups from Patrick Kane. You've got Alex DeBrincat, who's supposed to be a star in this league. David Perron's been there, done that. Like, there should be somebody that's going to be able to step up and get these guys motivated. And at the end of the day, all it does is, everybody, not to go into it now because it's old news, but Raymond, like, Lucas Raymond was the only one trying for 4 or 5 games.
Yeah.
Again, look, you can look at it both ways. Like, that's great. Like, it's very obvious that Raymond and Seider are the future of this team. They just are. But like, when we're going to, like, oh, Lucas Raymond's the only one trying right now. When I list off DeBrincat, Kane, fucking Perron, like, guys that have been there, done that. JT Compher, I mean, you could even make an argument for. It's just it's concerning.
Yeah, let's last thing before we move on. I want to throw this out there because it's interesting to me.
Do you think they make it? Let me pull up the standings real quick again.
Yeah, because I don't think Washington is that good. I think because they have the points in hand, I think they can definitely squeak in.
Can you give me a strength of schedule?
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah, I can look that up.
Okay, we'll talk while you fill. I'd be curious to know strength of schedule for both those two teams, the Red Wings and the Caps. Like, I mean, if the Red Wings are playing, if they're playing Ottawa 4 times,
Yeah. So for me, that falls back a little bit, and this is what I want to ask you. I feel like, in some of those situations where your top center goes out, that's a huge loss. With some of the wingers, like the wing pairs that they have though on this team, I think a little bit of that to me falls on the head coach, right? I think being able to find some of those pairings and things like that are going to work. I think a little bit of that does fall onto Lalonde. And yeah, to me, I mean, yes, is Kopp going to fill right in for Larkin between, say Lucas Raymond and Perron? Hell no. But, you gotta find some sort of combination that's going to work because, you do have some of those wingers, not necessarily the Pasternak, Marchand, combination of wingers that you can kind of put a Morgan Geekie in the middle of those.
Right.
But, you got to find something. So, it's definitely a point there.
Wings fans are just – oh, go ahead, Aaron.
Yeah, so the Wings schedule is not – it's not what you want to see. So interestingly, the Wings and the Capitals, they've got 2 games against each other. So that's basically basically your playoff prize. Other than that, this is the Wings remaining schedule. So they play the Capitals on Tuesday, then they go Carolina, at Florida, at Tampa Bay, Rangers at home, Sabres at home. Then they have another game against the Capitals, the Penguins, the Leafs, and then 2 games against the Habs.
They end with back-to-back against the Habs. Okay, well,
they end
back against the Habs, but that's a lot of really good teams.
Yeah, no,
that's not front-loaded, I think.
Yeah,
I think it's front-loaded, but yeah.
And then Washington, they have Detroit, obviously. They go at Toronto, Boston at home, at Buffalo, Penguins at home, at Carolina, Ottawa, Detroit, Buffalo, Tampa, Boston, Philly.
Okay, so, I mean, I would say they got some tough teams in there too. It's not a cakewalk for either team.
Yeah, I'd say both are.
No, I think those 2 games. I think that's your playoff push, right? Like they're
pretty much right.
Yeah, you have to split those at least.
Yep. Yeah.
So it's a big swing if it's both.
I think that's it, and then you have to clean up every game against the Buffaloes and Pittsburghs and
Montreals.
Like you can't have a bad loss to Pittsburgh coming down the stretch and make the playoffs, right? Like they got to take care of business against those teams. And that's like we were talking about earlier, getting back to, however you feel about Tom Wilson, that's a top 6 guy in the Washington organization. And being down that guy, it's going to be tough. So yeah, it'll be, but yeah, I think those 2 games, that's your wild card.
Yep. No, I agree.
Be good. Circle those, baby.
To put my final stamp on it, a good point about Lalonde. He's made some questionable stuff, and I think it's mostly like on the front end. I don't know. I haven't been as critical, but it's on the back end. Like now, Simon Edvinsson has shown every bit that he belongs in the NHL and should be on this team. Like he needs to be on this team for the playoff push and into the playoffs. But I have a very sneaky feeling that once Jake Wallman is off injury, Edvinsson's going back down, and that will infuriate me. Because Yzerman just said that like we're going to move the kids up. Like we didn't do anything at the deadline because we've got the kids to bring up that can help us be better and make a playoff push. So you've got a guy who is by all intents and purposes been playing amazing. Simon Edvinsson's coming in playing his first NHL games on a line with the fucking useless bloated carcass of Jeff Petrie. Mm-hmm. That's mean to bloated carcasses. Bloated carcasses could probably stop a puck. But
Jesus. God, sorry, Jeff. Sorry, Jeff's mom for listening.
Yeah, Jesus, sorry. Jeff, I'm sure Jeff's a great guy. But like off the ice, I would love to have a beer with Jeff. But goddamn, man, it's from a completely ridiculous having fun with this standpoint. Jeff has not been good, and he has been kind of a liability on the back end all year. He looks slow. He looks out of touch. And anytime for some reason that Lalonde puts Ben Sherratt and Petrie together, like I think every time that happens, a Montreal fan gains their angel wings because they're just like, welcome to our fucking life. Like this was our life for years. We did everything we could to get rid of them, and you did it, and you brought them back.
You're welcome for having both. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, and they're happy about it. So
you know what's not a bloated carcass though, Chance?
Who? What?
DraftKings Sportsbook.
Oh no, it is not. In fact, I mean, if you go deep into the hole with your gambling debts, you could become one.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, yeah. DraftKings will come after you.
Yeah. Or if you're the interpreter for a Japanese baseball player. That could be.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. This is geez, he probably was raking some money in on DraftKings, huh? We know hockey games move fast, but with DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NHL, you can score faster than anything happening on the ice. This week, new customers can bet $5 and get $200 instantly in bonus bets. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app with code THPN as in the Hockey Podcast Network. New customers can bet just $5 on the NHL and get $200 instantly in bonus bets. Only on DraftKings Sportsbook with code THPN. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Visit www.1800gambler.net. In New York, call 877-8-HOPENY or text HOPENY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly on behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas. 21 plus, age varies by jurisdiction, void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. See dkng.com/hockey for eligibility and deposit restrictions, terms, and responsible gaming resources. NHL and the NHL Shield are registered trademarks of the National Hockey League. Copyright NHL 2024. All rights reserved. Yeah, that's crazy. I mean, you think he was actually like, you think Ohtani was just throwing his freaking interpreter some, 600 grand, just putting it down.
I mean, it was, that's the thing. It's the story keeps changing, but we can say with certainty he wasn't using DraftKings. He was using an illegal bettor.
Officially.
Yes. Yeah. It came up because the feds were investigating that bookie and then found him. And then they had deposits from Ohtani to the interpreter. So it's a whole thing. But
let them bet, dude. Let them, as long as they're not putting bets down on their own game, fuck it.
I mean, you know who's not putting bets on their own games, but maybe would win a lot of money? The members of the Nashville Predators. Because my God, they are on a heater of all heaters.
All right, Fred's fans.
15-0-2 in their last 17 games.
You're telling me Philip Forsberg isn't throwing fucking money down? Or come on, man.
No, he's too busy getting fists thrown in his face.
He got popped pretty good. He was bleeding too.
Yeah, he was.
The Nashville Predators. Wait, sorry. Go back to that, Aaron. Let's for the fans in the back.
Yeah.
What is their record?
They're 15-0-2 in their last 17 hockey games.
So stupid, dude. Unreal.
Like, you'd think you'd get like goal lead once in a while, right? And like with Gus Nyquist, first line right wing, and Tommy Novak, a Jason Zucker still making it work out. 15-0-2 for this group of hockey players.
It's crazy because like there's people who are like, how did you not see? Obviously our buddy John. Our buddy John is like, oh man, there's Nashville fans that are like, I told you, they were going to be good. You can't look at this lineup at the beginning of the year and go, this team will go on a 15-0-2 run to basically just solidify their playoff spot. Like, it's impossible to think, dude. It's crazy. Jason Zucker playing
there's a reason why we dedicated the first part of the show to talking about the East wild card race. And then the second part is just the Predators. Like there is nothing to talk about the wild card race in the West.
Middle.
Like it's the Predators have locked it up. Like Vegas played well enough in the beginning of the season that they can fuck off and play 500 hockey and still get in. And the Predators have just ran away with it. Like it's the Blues and the Wild they're done. It's over. Like the race is done.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, it's crazy. And here's the thing. So we both kind of had the Predators, pretty low on the totem pole to begin the year. I don't think there really wasn't a lot of people outside of Nashville who were probably like, this is clearly a playoff team, right? I think, a majority of people would say this wasn't based on paper and all that. The underlying thing, right? And these are two guys that we both really like. Barry fucking Trotz is apparently a GM. He's a fucking GM, but I think Andrew Burnett gets all the credit. There's no way you can't look at this roster and say Andrew Burnett hasn't done anything. He's just a fucking figurehead behind the bench. He's unreal. It's who I wanted, honestly, the Ducks to pick up because I think, he had a really nice season in Florida, but I think, that Florida team wasn't that good when he would they were good, but they weren't that good. I think he made them better, and he's clearly fucking showing it here with Nashville. And I just, big props to Burnett, man. Unreal.
Well, and last season, Barry Trotz was like, yeah, we want the culture to change. So he ships out Matt Duchene. He brings in Ryan O'Reilly. Like he makes deals. And then, you look at what they did at the deadline. They brought in Jason Zucker and Anthony Beauvillier for a 6th round pick and a 5th round pick. Like they paid nothing to bring in guys that are playing middle 6 minutes for this team. Like it's they don't make any sense to me.
This is incredible.
It makes any sense.
No, it doesn't. And I mean, I wanted to pull up their stats here. Like, you can make an argument this is a one-line team. Like Philip Forsberg, Gustav Nyquist, Ryan O'Reilly. That's your first line right there. Nyquist is having a renaissance. Well, renaissance would imply that he was. It's taken him a long time. See, I know of Gustav Nyquist. Nyquist was a Red Wing for a long time. He was a Ken Holland project that was over ripening in the AHL. Like it's forever, and to the frustration of Red Wings fans. Like we wanted Gustav Nyquist to be what he is currently, and then now he's bounced around. You know, Nyquist has played for Columbus. He's played for wasn't he in the or wasn't he with the Ducks for a bit?
He's played for like everybody. He's a great puck doku guy.
Like a Howler.
Yeah. He's
like an Eric Holla.
Yeah. So
yeah, he's bounced around quite a bit, and it's crazy because like it's him and it was always him and Thomas Tatar. Like being an old, living with the Red Wings through the bad years. Like you were hoping that Gustav Nyquist and Thomas Tatar were going to finally become the thing that we hoped they were going to become. And it's clear that I don't know if it's more of Nyquist benefiting from being on a fantastic line of Philip Forsberg and Ryan O'Reilly, who is showing no signs of stopping. Like Ryan O'Reilly is continuing to just be an amazing hockey player, despite getting up there in age. But then you've got supplementary scoring right here, like Tommy Novak, Colton Sissons. I didn't mention Roman Josi because everybody knows fucking Roman Josi. Like we expect this kind of thing. The guy's arguably the best defenseman in the league. In my opinion,
plays a good game, dude. Yeah.
In my opinion, Roman Josi is probably the best current overall defenseman in the league. Like he still he's at being an old Red Wings fan, you hold everybody to the Nick Lindstrom standard. Like you contribute offensively while still being solid defensively, and that's Roman Josi. Like you're not Eric Karlsson, where you put up a shit ton of points and you just like stop playing defense. Like I'm just the fourth offenseman on the blue line. Roman Josi should get the Norris this year, in my personal opinion. But in any case, this is a team that's getting depth scoring. Not to mention, I don't know if you know this name, Josi Saros.
Yeah, he's all right.
He's a little better than all right.
Watching that game yesterday, watching them play the Red Wings, like they can handle, man, they can handle like the push from Red Wings. Red Wings were playing a better, more skilled offensive game at times, right? And they have the depth pieces on this team to play, basically, okay, they're gonna come at us with all this firepower, right? And they keep them to the outside. They really don't let a lot of they honestly, there was times yesterday they actually got a little sloppy and still could kind of figure it back out. So UC Saros, I love hearing he makes a kick save, and it's kind of a mid kick save and juice, but
right.
It's pretty fun to watch him because he's a fucking stud. He's an absolute stud, and he always has been, right?
No, oh, absolutely. I mean, I think that when you learn how to play goalie in the shadow of Pekka Rinne, who is also another world,
pretty nice, yeah.
Like you're going to learn a thing or two, and he was kind of able to be brought in. Like think about the progression of somebody. Like normally in the league, like Jordan Binnington just thrown into the fire or something like that. Whereas Saros is the perfect example of he was literally eased into this position like slowly, like over time. Like he was at first, Josi Saros is that kid that we brought up. Maybe he'll get some. He'll start a game or two this year, and then he'll get a little more, and then he got a little more, and then he was splitting time. Like he was literally going 50-50 with Pekka Rinne, and then Rinne kind of started to teeter off, and then finally it was Saros's net. Like it was this slow progression into finally becoming the starter, and
that's the way to do it, huh?
Yeah.
Nashville, they're a goalie factory and they're a defenseman factory. Like,
they sure are.
You go from Saros to even you go back to when they were having like Thomas Vokoun, and like Thomas Vokoun was playing good hockey for them. Like the Nashville Predators, they're just spoiled with good goaltending, and they always have a good blue line. Like something about the way
their problem's always been getting a scorer up front.
They've never had the the forward depth, but like their blue
David Legwand, bro, come on.
put some respect on James Neal's name. You know,
Yeah,
he
on,
got him to a cup final.
Is it Arnett? Who am I thinking of? Arnett?
Yeah,
No.
Paul
Arnott,
Correa,
Jason Arnott,
yeah, Jason Arnett.
Yeah. So it's all
No, what a good point. Yeah, they really are. And defense, right? They were popping out Ryan Ellis for a little bit. They had developing. Just God, man.
Ryan Ellis. They had Shea Weber. They had Subban played there. They had
Shooter was there.
Ekholm.
Yeah,
like, they had all these guys. Like they just always have good blue line. Like something about their. Like they can identify and develop defensemen and blue liners like nobody else in the league. Like it's really kind of remarkable.
Right, and this is a team that got rid of Ekholm, like who is a very good defenseman. Like in my personal opinion, he was good anyway. But looking at, you're right. Like Luke Shen is playing solid hockey. Roman Yossi is Roman Yossi. McDonough is solid. I mean Tyson Barrie sucks, but
dude, he's so good. You kidding me? Actually, so there was rumor. I guess they almost had a trade to move him to Calgary.
Yep.
It sounded like, but they brought him back in the last 4 games. He's played fucking good, dude.
Yeah,
but they have him with McDonough right now. You just gotta shelter the fuck out of him, dude.
Right.
Yeah, he's Tyson Barrie. All he does is quarterback power plays. Like, he's a one trick hockey player at this point.
He's like a half trick pony, dude. Like you can't. Like it's crazy. Yeah, but so the other side of that is that they could potentially do it again, right? Like Askarov down there right now, right? Like they have another goalie potentially waiting in the wings to just learn from Saros. Like it's insanity. It's crazy. And kudos to their scouting. Kudos to I think a lot of it really is development, right? Like you can bring in a number 1 overall. You can fuck up a number 1 overall, right? Like, it's totally possible. So yeah, they're doing something right there in Nashville. I mean,
so I know it's late, but it's Burnett, right?
Yeah, it's Andrew Burnett
behind the bench. Are we thinking Jack Adams consideration?
100%, dude.
Okay.
There's no like
you get votes for sure.
I think him and Torts. And then I think you could probably look at like Tocchet. Yeah. Tocchet was going to be my other one. So I think it's a 3-headed monster between those 3 because there's not a lot of people that especially looked at Nashville and Philly and said this is clearly a playoff team. And Vancouver kind of had some pieces, right? They were kind of just maybe someone would put it together because they did have the Pedersens and the Millers and the Hughes and the Demkos, right? Like they did have that roster that it was like, okay, maybe. Philly and Nashville, no fucking way, dude. If we were having a legitimate conversation about those 2 teams with say a Philly fan and a Nashville fan at the beginning of the year, I would have turned my fucking mic off and I would have walked out, dude. Like there's no way you couldn't convince me of that.
Another name to throw out there: if the Capitals make the playoffs, Spencer Carberry is going to get some votes.
Yeah, I didn't like his beginning of the year and a minus 30 differential.
No, but I'm in the vein of the way this award gets voted on.
Yes,
right. Like it should go to like Jared Bednar. It should go to like John Cooper is never going to win a Jack Adams because we expect him. But the way that this award gets voted on, of teams the general consensus didn't think were going to be good that overperformed. Like dragging that carcass of a Capitals team into the playoffs, being the coach of that team. Yes, I agree that he maybe shouldn't, but like if they make the playoffs, he's going to get votes.
Okay. Isn't that the way though? I mean, you're looking at the Jack Adams, to me at least, like it's an MVP of coaches, right? And if we're looking at the MVP, there's no way to me Philly and Nashville could have done based on their rosters on paper what they've done without the coaches behind the bench, right? Shout out to Torts as well, right? I mean, there's just, to me, that's an MVP caliber, right? There's no way that team with with Dallas Eakins would have fucking done anything, right? It's just impossible to think that. So, fucking sweet though.
God, I didn't know that Vegas had fallen so far.
Points,
Jesus Christ.
Dude. Yeah, they're gonna make it, but like, man, if they rattled off a couple of wins, it really wouldn't hurt because they're just leaving the door open just wide enough that
like it's not
open, man.
Things are still going their way, and I honestly they could. I mean, I said it earlier without even knowing but they are playing 500 hockey, like literally 500 hockey at the moment. And it's are the Blues and the Wild gonna have what it takes to maybe make that push? Probably not. But still, like little too close for comfort, especially for a team that just fucking shot their load at the deadline again.
Yeah. That's, I mean, yeah.
Again, that LTIR stuff doesn't come without risk, and
it's true.
But they will get. I mean, they should get Hurdle back, and I'm looking at their like remaining schedule for the Blues. Actually, the Blues have a pretty easy remaining schedule. So they do play. So they play Vegas on Monday night.
That's gonna be a big game.
That's a big game. That's a circle too.
We might be up for some live streams here.
Yeah,
we got
and then,
let's do it, dude.
The Capitals Red Wings game and the fucking Blues. Oh, that'd be absolutely.
After that, this is the Blues remaining schedule. They've got Calgary, San Jose, then they play Edmonton, Nashville, then they play San Jose, Anaheim, Chicago, then they play Carolina, and then Seattle. Then their last game's at Dallas, and Dallas probably, depending on what Dallas has to play for, they may be resting guys. Like
sure.
There's a lot of winnable games down the stretch.
Yeah,
like,
sure.
Whereas I would be curious about Vegas' schedule too.
Give me 1 second. I'll pull.
Yeah, you're good.
Can you scroll back down, Chance? I want to see. Is there anyone who's under Minnesota? Is there anyone that we could literally look at and say, is this potential? Okay, 7-1. So it's just maybe Minnesota.
Your galaxy brain.
Yeah, if anybody, I was gonna say, like, we can, if anybody has stuck around with the Dusty Bender podcast for a little while. We're not talking about Seattle because there's just nothing to talk about Seattle. I mean, they're they're out.
here's the Golden Knights remaining schedule. So they have St. Louis, then they go Nashville, Winnipeg, Minnesota, Vancouver, Arizona, Vancouver, Edmonton, Minnesota, Colorado, Chicago, Anaheim.
Those are some very
pretty nasty.
Those are
like actually, dude.
With
they're making it. They're making it close.
That's like 6 games in a row that are like very important.
Yes, exactly. For all teams involved, like
you're gonna need St. Louis a couple times too.
Like those are playoff intensity games, like all of them. Like Minnesota, I mean, shit, you lose to Minnesota twice, they're not out of it.
And you lose to Minnesota twice, they just made up 4 points on you.
Yeah, and Minnesota's 6-1-3. I mean, it's not really anything, but
and like Winnipeg and Colorado, they're going to be playing for trying to dodge that knife fight in the Central. They don't like.
Yeah.
So, man, that's
okay. Maybe this is a little more open than I thought it was going to be.
Maybe that door's a little bit more open than I had initially.
And I love every second of it, dude.
Man.
Can you? Oh yeah, absolutely. Well, can you just like how embarrassing? Like if Vegas doesn't make the fucking playoffs, are you kidding me?
Here's this: sandwich a cup between missing the playoffs. How about fucking that, dude? How many times have we done that? That's insanity.
Where a cup winner doesn't make the playoffs.
So it was literally miss the playoffs, win the cup, miss the playoffs. Like, if they were to choose that, oh my god,
that would be nuts. Like that team's
be fucking
schizophrenic. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so like let's close out with a kind of a playoff picture look here. We can also, as we talk about the Flyers, we can talk about Torts being Torts and benching Couturier. Sounds about right. But so, all right, real quick, we don't need to spend time on like the top team. Boston's making the playoffs. Any thoughts on Boston?
Is Boston going to beat out Florida for that number 1 seed?
Oh, Florida looks so good, dude.
Florida's 2 points out with 2 games in hand.
Because I hate the Leafs. Yes.
You want Boston Leafs first round?
Oh God, I
mean, that'll be
you need it. We need it.
I need it in my soul.
Let's go for it.
If I need anything, I need Boston, Toronto again.
Yeah, only thing I can think of with Florida, they've looked okay lately. They went on a fucking heater there for a little bit. They're kind of bringing Stolars in a little more, right? Kind of just resting Bob. So for that number 1 spot, maybe. I'm not saying Stolars is a bad goalie, but but it's not Bobrovsky this season. So
and
I hope they do it. I don't know if they will.
While I want Boston to play Toronto, like an acceptable alternative is Toronto having to play Florida in the first round. So
which would be golden anyways.
Right, which is like we are going to be blessed with a Maple Leafs first round exit either way, and it's going to be humiliating either way. So
you better knock on some fucking wood, dude.
So I couldn't be happier. I couldn't be happier.
Playoff rematch.
I don't need to knock on wood. It's the fucking Leafs.
I know, but shit, we can't have them just pulling something out of their ass. Come on.
Any other team, you're right. it's the Leafs. Like, this is what they do.
Yeah,
They're not fucking. They're
not
not
wrong.
Well, the Leafs are not following. They are deadlocked at that third spot. They are going to play Boston or Florida. Like, that's one or the other. Which poison do you want?
It's hilarious, dude.
You want to get shot in the head, or do you want to fucking get electrocuted to death? You know, like what?
Mm-hmm.
Like they're done. They are destined for another first round exit. I couldn't be happier about it.
Jeez.
So in the Metro, let's move on to the Metro.
Yeah.
Do you watch out for the Hurricanes?
Yeah,
the Hurricanes look good. Jake Gensel
good.
slotting in real nicely. Kuznetsov seems like he's found his game again.
Talk about deadline acquisitions that are paying off in dividends immediately.
The other one I want to give a shout out to real quick before we kind of keep on them. Orlov starting to come around, right? So their back end is scary to begin with.
Well, we've already known that their back end is
out. Yeah, it's just alive.
Yeah.
And Freddie, fucking Christ, look out for this.
Freddie came back and has not skipped a beat.
Didn't miss a beat.
Yeah,
didn't have a blood disorder, dude. Like, just fucking showed up, man.
That game they had against the Islanders the other night, just smothering. Oh my god, it was.
Yeah, that's playoff hockey, baby. That's
real quick.
One team was playing playoff hockey, the other team
that's correct.
was not.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god,
that is correct.
Yeah, Kuzi,
holy dude.
We are seeing firsthand the Kuzi was playing. How do I explain this? So there's the Draisaitl to the McDavid, and they're a happy duo. Whereas Kuzi has just always kind of been he's been the Malkin to the Crosby, but has always been the lesser of that. You know what I mean?
He was the third guy in Washington, right? Because it was Backstrom and Ovi, and then there was Kuzi, right? But now he's kind of found his game again, and dude, Gensel
he's been in Ovi's shadow for so long.
Yeah. Dude, and Gensel has such good chemistry with Seth Jarvis on that line. He has given Seth Jarvis a whole nother gear to his game.
Oh, yeah.
Those two they have instant chemistry with Aho. So
stupid.
Oh man, this team can this is the happy figured out how to putt moment for the rest of the league. The Carolina Hurricanes figured out how to score goals.
Dude.
This defense is dumb. That's so dumb.
That's so dumb. That's ridiculous. It should not be allowed. Yeah, this is to me, and 8-1-1 in their last 10 definitely shows that this isn't just us watching and being like, this is a good team. No, they're fucking sick right now. And who would have thought? Well, who would have thought? Trying to go off of just Aho and Svechnikov and whatever Teravainen is as their goal scorer. No, this is they did what they needed to do at the deadline, and you got Svechnikov on the fucking third line still scoring goals right now, right?
Now they can score goals, and that's scary for everybody else.
But Toronto told me Freddie Anderson was garbage, though, dude. So I don't, who knows?
Well, you see,
maybe it's just Toronto is garbage.
Well, and Carolina has NHL defensemen.
Right? Oh yeah.
They're not.
How dare you besmirch the name of Brody?
Yeah, bro.
Yeah,
Brody
and 67-year-old Mark Giordano.
Hell yeah,
how
dude,
dare you?
You got a Norris. He's good.
Right. Carolina's gonna be a problem. And if Philly, 81 points, what's that division? Because of the weird wild card situation. How does that work out? Philly is getting on their. So the Caps are okay. The Caps aren't going to catch Philly. So Philly is probably most likely going to play Carolina. The Canes. Again, can we chalk up more of a first round exit?
And Philly, they have 850 goaltending since middle of January. Ever since they
the Hart situation.
Ever since Carter Hart got dismissed, they have had abysmal goaltending. So the fact that they're kind of hanging around is kind of impressive. But if they roll into the playoffs against the Hurricanes with their goaltending as it stands today,
they're getting swept.
Oh my god, they're just gonna get swept in 3 games.
If I had to do an early, we're not doing our predictions yet, but if I had to do a too early prediction right now, Carolina will sweep the Flyers.
The game that Philly likes to play, right? The torch style of hockey, Carolina can play that. They've been playing
and better,
right? They love that. They can play that at a much higher level. I mean, maybe Carolina goes out and gets hammered in Philadelphia one night, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's the only way that Philly's winning a fucking game.
Yep.
And Tampa Bay I think they've woken up a little
Tampa's
bit.
in.
Like, that's and that's
they're
a
solid
team
enough.
That's a team that if you're looking at, that's not a wild card team I want to play with Kucherov and
no, I'd much rather play. I'd much rather play the lower seed.
Well, yeah, and if Vasilevsky finds his form, like we know he can, if he becomes Vasilevsky again, like that's a team that could beat anybody in the East.
Dude, at 83 points, Vasilevsky isn't. There's a good chance that Vasilevsky's playing like a backup for me the rest of the regular season. He needs to, like, he has to be. He go put him on a fucking Tampa Bay beach, dude. Like, just go get rest. You know.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think they're in too. I don't like Aaron, you put it perfectly. Like, I don't like that first matchup. Like, if I'm the Rangers, the Bruins, or the Panthers, I would much rather play Detroit or the Capitals.
Oh, give me the Battle of Florida first round, baby. Oh man.
Oof.
Give me
that would be
Panthers, Lightning, and Bruins, Leafs.
If the hockey gods love us, which we know they don't, but if they want to be merciful, give me Boston and Toronto and the Battle of Florida in the first round.
Yep.
Hell yeah, dude.
That's
so good.
I'm getting stiff just thinking about that. Holy shit.
Gosh, damn, chill out, boy.
Come on. We're hockey fans. We never get anything fun.
So
like, it's it's always like the first round is like fucking, the Islanders against fucking, whoever, Pittsburgh. And it's like, wow, what a fucking battle of the Titans here.
So if we're going for best matchups in the East, though, the only one, like Carolina, Philly, we already know is going to be a blowout if that's the way it ends up. The only other one would be New York versus second wild card. That's Washington, right? Don't you want to see Washington over Detroit in that spot? See Washington in fucking New York?
I mean, yeah, for an entertainment perspective, perhaps, but New York.
I said this before we went on air, but I want Washington to make the playoffs because I want to watch the broadcast and watch like Biz and all those guys on the desk try and justify Washington being there and being like, oh, well, they have a negative 30 goal differential. Well, did they make any big deadline acquisitions? Absolutely not. They sold. Well, did Ovi have a big year? No, he's been actually kind of bad. Like, why are they here? Nobody knows because everyone else was worse somehow.
Somehow worse.
That's it. So we can easily. I'm personally comfortable writing off the Devils and the Islanders. The Islanders are just not. They're showing that they don't have it. So it's a foot race between the Red Wings and the Caps. Obviously, I'm going to be biased here. And you know what? Not even I'll be biased. I'll double down on my take. Like, I predicted that the Red Wings were going to be a wild card team at the beginning of the season, so I'll stick by my pick.
Fine by me.
Yeah, that's fine. And again, if you're the Red Wings, you make the playoffs, you're going to play the Rangers, the Bruins, or the Panthers in the first round. Again, making the playoffs and winning one game is already like that's to me. That is progress for the Red Wings. Like, that is the season was a success in my eyes. Like, you knew they were never going to be a Stanley Cup contender. You knew they weren't going to make a deep playoff push. Like, the Red Wings making the playoffs for the first time in 12 years or something, like some ridiculously long number.
It's not that far, is it? It's only like 7 or 8.
Long time since
it's been a while, man.
Holy.
Like Zetterberg was still on the team.
Man, I've seen a lot of life since then.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, right. So, like, making the play, like it kind of puts the Yzerman doubters, it quiets them a bit because this is natural progression. Like, the Red Wings are finally in this was supposed to be the Buffaloes. This was supposed to be the Ottawas where they were taking that step. This shows that step. They made the playoffs. And if they win a game, that's good playoff experience for the kids to know that type of intensity in that hockey. The Capitals, they get in. It's just we're just happy to be here,
Yeah, I like that. Like a progression team rather than the Capitals. Yeah. I'm okay with that.
Shows forward momentum. It is a positive step in the right direction. They're still fake good. I don't believe that they are a good team. I definitely think they get their doors blown off. Probably a 5-game series against any of those teams that I said. But even one win in the playoffs is, again, a good step in the right direction.
Yep. You want to let's jump over to the West real quick.
Yep.
You want to talk about like a division that's going to be a knife fight, the Central?
Oh wait, Taylor, did you say who you got the Wings or the Caps or the Islanders?
So I think the Wings make it in. I think having Larkin back helps, and Lyon got a little bit of rest with Reimer, and so I think they, he played really good against Nashville. So
sure, it's they're both going to be mediocre about this. Like I think both of them are going to stumble into this, like going 5-5. The rest, like 500 hockey most of the way, give or take. Like especially based on those schedules you told me. Like this isn't going to be like, oh, the Red Wings are running away with this, or the Capitals are running away with this. Like they're going to be both really aggressively mediocre to the finish line, and we might have to come down to like goal differential or something.
Game 2, yeah.
Yep.
Like it's gonna be a mid off for sure.
Do baseball, have them do a playoff to get into the wild card.
1 game playoff.
Right. All right. Avs, Dallas, Winnipeg in the Central.
They're in.
Dallas is they're in. They're looking good.
That's gonna be a race to the finish. There's 2 points separating 3 teams.
And Otter looks good again, dude.
Yep.
He's figuring it back out, man.
He's got back on form.
Yeah.
As advertised, as usual.
Yeah. He looks
Colorado.
good.
Colorado with their ads, though. Yeah.
This is the West is going to be there's going to be some good, like not as like marquee matchups, like, the Bruins and the Leafs or whatever, but like there's going to be some good hockey played in the West.
You got to build them, though. You got to build those rivalries, man.
The West is stronger than the East, in my opinion. And like you look at the Central specifically, those are 3 teams that made pretty significant additions at the deadline. And one of those teams is getting bounced in the first round. Like,
yeah, it's crazy.
Like those are like, you could convince me pretty easily that any one of those 3 teams could come out of the West.
None of those teams are going to rest anyone. Like winning this, winning this tight division is quite literally could be the difference between. Well, fuck, I don't know. Like, do I want to win the Central and play fucking the Predators? Holy shit! Like. Predators are unreal at the moment. Like, if anything, I would want
if Vegas gets
healthy. That's the only thing. Like right now, but see, and that's like, what are we talking about right now? Like, if I'm in the playoffs, like I want my first round matchup to be Vegas. Like
this defending Cup champs,
right?
With their LTIR,
right? The defending Stanley Cup champions are my best first round matchup. Like, holy shit!
Yeah, you better hope those Blues figure it out.
They would probably go to Vancouver, but. Because I don't think anyone's catching Vancouver for the
98 to 95. Yeah. Well, I think Colorado has.
They're both at 95. They're 3 points back, but I think the Canucks will fend them off. But that those teams are just going to be a knife.
Avs have won 8 in a row.
Yeah.
Nucks have played a lot better hockey lately.
It's not.
No, it's not. No, it's not. But
it doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't matter at this point. Like, everybody is screwed. Like, the only team that I see that has a decent first round matchup is if I'm the Oilers, I'm okay with meeting LA again for like
3 years in a row. Is this 3 years in a row for them?
4 years in a row now. I'm okay with that. Like, it's still not great, but it's better than the alternatives, right?
Well, Vegas still could. I mean, 500 hockey. It's not like the Kings 6-3-1. Like they're not blowing the world on fire. But so it could still be Vegas. But yeah, I mean, fuck. It's just,
you're hoping that the Blues get it together for a hot second and bounce them, because then you're like, okay, we'll take.
We got a little break here.
Yeah,
I would still, for as hot as Nashville is, I would still roll the dice on a team that's running Gus Nyquist on its first line. Like, I know they're on a major heater, and I know UC Saros, and I know everything we just said about
how hockey works, man. Like it's Blues all over again, where you just hit hot at the right time.
Would I rather play the Blues, or would I rather play Vegas, Dallas, or Winnipeg? Right? Like I'd
rather play the Blues. Yeah.
The Predators. Like I would rather play the Predators out of any of those 4 teams. Right? Like so. Like. Of the bad options available, give me the one that, like, if they return to earth a little bit, you can you're the favorites, right?
Playoff hockey's different, so maybe you're right. Okay,
like I'll take the Kings, dude. If there's any team that's currently in the playoffs right now on the West side, it's the Kings. I want to play the Kings first round,
and that's like I'm not again, I'm not the math guy on the show, but I'm looking at this, and I think that matchup's pretty well locked in, right?
Pretty much, yeah. There something wild would have to happen one way or the other for them to not meet again. I mean, I guess in theory,
is Vegas.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I guess in theory, Vegas could catch the Kings and move into that spot to play, and then But yeah, the 2 teams I would want to draw are the Kings and the Predators, or maybe yeah, like maybe if you want to like say the Canucks have been on a PDO heater and you're not that afraid of the Canucks, you could make that gamble. But like for me, if I'm looking at that list of 8 teams, there's like the Kings and the Predators, and then there's a gap, and then there's the rest of them.
I don't want to meet anybody at the top of the Central. I don't want to play. I don't want to play the Jets. I don't want to play the Stars. I don't want to play the Avs.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think I like your point on Nashville, and you know, to the same point, they could just be a regular season team, right? Mm-hmm. You know, we don't know what they look like in the playoffs, whereas you know what Vegas looks like. Right. You know what even LA looks like. You know what Edmonton and you know, Edmonton. Scratch that. We'll just pretend that Edmonton is good in the playoffs.
You know, but they made it to like the conference final. They made like they win rounds. It's not like they're the Leafs that get bounced every first round.
Right. So I mean, you know, the only other team that you could put with maybe some, you know, inexperience from a playoff standpoint would be Vancouver, right? This roster for Vancouver, but you know, I'm not putting my cards in against a 98-point team. So
yeah,
you know, So I don't mind that point against Nashville. I just this is the Kings from whatever year they fucking walked through. We brought up St. Louis already, right? Like they could easily be that team where they're just on an absolute
King. If I'm picking like if I UK, you've got these fucking 8 teams. You got to pick one to play. Like Kings are my number 1. Like I will take the Kings in the first round. Mm-hmm. After that, probably the Predators or the Knights. Solely because the Knights are like they're not doing well right now. They're in a funk. And if you can capitalize on that, if you can make them carry that funk over from the regular season to the playoffs, you might be able to take advantage of a bad team that's just not got their shit together. You're hoping so. Maybe we've seen it before. Like teams have limped into the playoffs and then fucking turn it on. So you're hoping that funk carries over into the playoffs. Otherwise, no, I wouldn't want to play the defending Stanley Cup champions that just went out and busted their load for everybody at the fucking deadline.
Yeah, and I think there's also another underlying point to Vegas too, right? Like, yes, you get all these guys out, right? You know, flip the switch. It's the playoffs game, day 1, right? That team has to gel, right? They haven't had any. These guys haven't played together at all. You know, yes, you get Hurdle back in there, right? You get Mark Stone back in, who obviously, you know, that definitely helps, but to expect instant success out of a team that's just basically puzzling these guys together that you know, without those kind of guys haven't really played that great of hockey recently. You never know, man. You just never know.
Yeah, like, you know, Mark Stone hasn't played an NHL game in months by the time the playoffs start, right? So like you're coming in game 1 of the playoffs, like you have to hit the ground running. You can't, you know, stumble out of like getting your sea legs back again, right? Like, and like to your point, you have to figure out the lines. Do the lines gel, right? It's not playing shell and you can just throw all the good guys in and then everyone knows exactly where everyone else is on the ice, right? So
there's 2 Kyle Connors on Winnipeg, dude. That's fucking dope. That's a cheap code.
That's how good they are. They just duplicated him. He plays both of them.
Just fucking science again, right? This is such a science positive podcast that we.
No, actually, they just had the brilliant idea to double shift him because he's their best player.
He just skates both lot. He just doesn't get off the ice for the rotate out.
He plays 47 minutes a night.
Who's supposed to be here? Who are we missing?
Probably Perfetti up that way. He hasn't been that great, but
the guy that's missing is Nick Ehlers, by the way.
Okay. Gotcha.
Oh yeah, good catch. That is
good
weird.
Call, yeah.
They don't
I was gonna say I don't know if Tyler Toffoli is. But I mean Toffoli's been done well for them. Like that's a good, nice little addition to help you get some depth scoring.
Running Toffoli on your third line is gross.
Yeah, that sucks, dude.
Right.
It's crazy.
It's really good. And then not to mention, like, look, man, when Winnipeg's one of those teams where you have Connor Hellebuck. Like Connor Hellebuck can just like walk in day 1 of the playoffs and be like, oh, hey, actually, I've decided that I'm gonna get us to the Stanley Cup final.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like
Hey
I'm
guys,
actually
you guys
going
to win today.
Yeah, I'm actually not gonna let anyone score.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The thing with the Jets is you have a bunch of guys who can put the puck in the net, and then you have the best goalie in the world, in my opinion. Like, like Scheifele can score. Kyle Connor can score.
Arguable, but he's definitely up there.
Yeah, like in my like I said, in my opinion. Sure. And you have a bunch of guys who can score, and then you have the best one of, if not the best, a top 3 goalie in the world, and you have a blue line that's not great, but it's not terrible either.
But like it's defensive.
they're a defensive liability. Like the Jets as a whole, they kind of have been. Like they're not great in their own set. I know they had the streak of goals scored. I think that's, in my opinion, that's mostly because they have Connor Hellebuck.
Sure.
But like you have a bunch of guys who can score, and you have a great goalie, and like that can be enough.
Serviceable defense.
Yep.
Yeah. Play
Absolutely.
good enough defense, and then you have just a bunch of guys just a bunch of shooters, and like,
yeah.
So not official picks yet, but let's okay. So Colorado's in, Dallas is in, Winnipeg's in, Vancouver's in, Edmonton's in, LA's in, Predators. Are we all
they're
believers?
in, yeah.
I mean, they're 5 at this point. I think they're 5 points clear, right? Like they're probably making it.
Yep. And then Vegas, like it's hard to sit here and I mean, a lot of things would have to go wrong for Vegas, and they like as Aaron pointed out, they have a lot of important like those aren't throwaway games like where they can lose to the Ottawa Senators and whatnot. Like you drop back-to-backs with Minnesota, I'm sweating a little bit, right?
A couple of games against Colorado, who they're going to be like those are going to be playoff games.
Oh,
like,
and the storyline of Fleury coming in,
Fleury
awesome. Fleury comes in and destroys the Golden Knights.
Yeah, that would be great.
Love that.
Yeah. I mean, listening to their schedule, knowing their recent, just subpar, mediocre hockey, they could easily fall out. But I think, looking at St. Louis, looking at Minnesota, it's going to take a lot for those teams to jump, even 4 points in the standings, which is what St. Louis has. And they both have they both got one game up on Vegas, right? So I think it's set. I think the West is set, but
they play Vegas on
crazier
Monday.
shit.
Yeah, I think the only team that has a chance is St. Louis, and I think if they drop that game on Monday, I think that's probably it. But
yeah, I think
I don't think Minnesota makes up that much ground with Vegas having a game in hand. I don't believe in the Wild that much. So I think it's the Blues or nothing. But if the Blues win that game on Monday, and they're 2 points out going down the stretch with the remaining schedules, like that gets real dicey.
I'll play it safe, and I'll say that Vegas gets it.
I think they probably do. They're probably the favorite. Like, let me see what is money.
I would love for them to not, but
right,
I'm not.
That would be hilarious. That's a great storyline.
Yeah,
and watch Vegas fans implode. But
yeah, Money Puck has Vegas as an 88% favorite to make the playoffs.
Ken from Sinbin will be fucking recording a 6-hour long podcast.
How quickly do Vegas fans just instantly their only comeback is, well, we won the cup last year? How quickly does that happen?
Dude,
immediate.
It's just legs fly forever, man. That's the whole point.
Immediate. But that's a good excuse though, right? Like, I mean, it's like the Toronto Maple Leafs effect. Like anytime a Maple Leafs fan wants to talk shit about anything ever, it's like you have no ground to stand on. Like at all.
But as a Ducks fan, I don't throw 07 into everybody's face when they start getting on fucking Trevor Zegras
a bit far out.
Shitty.
Is that because that was like almost 20 years ago?
I think the context wise, like if you're having an argument, if Taylor, if you were having an argument with somebody about like franchise breadth overall, like I think you could bring up the 07 Cup. Now, recent, no. Like if you're like, yeah, the Ducks won it in 07, and it's like, dude, that was like 20 years ago. Like the like some people on that roster are dead. Like it's not.
there's just a couple things in a hockey argument that get like that's such a last resort,
like
dude.
But not to use the Leafs again. But like if you were arguing with a Leafs fan, like you could easily make an argument that the Ducks are a more successful franchise in the modern day than the Leafs.
I would love for you to make that. Let's do a whole extra show, and you can make that one point because I would love that.
I would. I mean,
I agree with it.
Not to go down that rabbit hole, but I think that's a pretty easy.
I'm into it, dude.
Here's a more interesting question to me. Who's had a better run of success in the modern era? Is it the Toronto Maple Leafs or is it the San Jose Sharks?
Sharks. Fuck, zero cups between them.
Zero cups between them. Sharks and both teams.
Sharks got to the ledge though. Like
with Thornton, the Thornton days. They
made runs. It's Sharks, 100%.
It's that type of argument,
right? It's that type of argument where that does come into play. So I'm not saying it's not nothing, but even then, like I'm not as somebody who grew up a Red Wings fan, like I'm not sitting here going like, fucking 96, 97, baby, woo! Like
you should.
I mean, but those teams were fucking dirty. Like it's arguably like the 03 Red Wings are like a cheat code. Like
Was it I think it was the 96 Red Wings. Like their roster is the stupidest thing in the world.
Oh, it's the dumbest fucking. Those are the years I think they bounced like rookie Ovi.
Yeah, this was 96.
Okay.
This was before that. Maybe that's not the year because there was the year. It wasn't their best team. Actually, wasn't their cup teams.
Oh,
was it 98? There was one year where they set the record for points, and then they got bounced in the first round.
Yeah, it was like the year. Like, well, they had like Brett Hull at one time, and Chris Chelios, and Nick Lindstrom, Kirk Maltby. Like, I mean, it was a cheat code. It was ridiculous.
Yeah. They had all those guys like fucking. Run down this
NHL 24 GM roster.
Definitely, 100%.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, boys, you got anything else?
Not from me.
Sounds good.
Nope.
Cool. If you need some flooring done, hit me up,
dude. You are the
all I fucking do.
Flooring king, man.
Yeah, I'm gonna help you move a washer and dryer in a little bit.
Yeah,
so.
we're gonna get fucking strong here in a second.
Hell yeah.
Move some
video it.
After we move a freezer.
After we move a fridge. Twitter. We're going to move a fridge and then move some
364 days till next year's podcast.
Next year's podcast tryouts. Got to toughen up. Speaking of, Hoppy Gilmore 2 is in development. So
no way. They're going to ruin it, aren't they?
Sorry to ruin your episode. Go right now and Google it. It's going to Netflix. They're going to find a way to ruin that.
Yeah, it's going to be the Dumb and Dumber of Happy Gilmore.
I love that.
Just all of them are just the same joke repeated. Yep. Oh man. All right. So Anchorman 2.
I hope he wears a Thrashers jersey in this one.
Hell yeah.
They need to bring back Rob Schneider again.
They need to bring back Bob Barker.
Yes.
Fuck yeah, Barker, dude.
The reanimated corpse of Bob Barker.
Do the CGI de-aging. Get some guy to stand in as Bob Barker, a young Bob Barker.
Oh no, I was thinking more like Weekend at Bernie's, but sure.
Yes, that's what I was thinking. Just the puppet shit.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's good shit.
Or it's the new one. It's the Drew Carey.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. All right, everybody. Yeah. Happy It Fights 2 Price is Right hosts again. Love that. All right, everybody. We appreciate you guys. Thanks for listening. Follow us on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. We're very accessible. You can find the episode wherever you want. You can watch it. You can listen to it. Check out our merch. We're doing hats. We're doing shirts, all that kind of stuff. So let us know if you're interested in any of that stuff. And we'll see you next week. Goodbye.
Adios.